Hello, everyone. Again, this is Brett Leichner with part two of my Module 12 Tort Law presentation. Again, just kind of getting back to the Hall v. Jones, um, where the students had a PE fight. The teacher's back was turned. I got cut off a little bit with the proactive steps. So again, I would want to just make sure that the PE teachers knew the law so that they knew the risk that they were taking. Again, I didn't know that you'd be held liable if your back was turned just for a split second. I would then make sure that we'd meet on the procedures twice a year, and then I think the informal walkthroughs would help ensure that those procedures were going on and being followed. And so again, I mean, this was another tough one. It's kind of hard, to say that, tell a teacher that they can't turn their back ever, but apparently that's the case with the law. So teachers just have to realize the law and follow it, and to make sure that they're not going to have any type of problems legally. The next case is Brewington versus Walter G. Smith Elementary School. The background for this case was that a student was running in the gym. The student became out of control and ran into a concrete wall that did not have padding. The student then suffered a concussion. The concussion lasted through the next school year, and the school was sued for negligence for not having a padding on their concrete walls around their gym. As far as reactive steps that my school would do, obviously they would install padding on all concrete walls in the gym. That would be about the only thing. I mean, I don't really know what else you could do in this case other than maybe like ban running, but I don't think that would be something that would be done. Some things that I would do if this was my school district, I would tour neighboring districts to make sure our district is similar to other districts in the safety measures that we provide. I think you open yourself up to a lot of liability if one school has all these other safety measures that's close to your district in size and financial capabilities, and then your school doesn't. That kind of makes you look bad, and if anything happens, it kind of makes things easier for you to lose a court case, in my opinion. So I would make sure that our district was up to snuff there, and then I would also make sure our building is up to code, and try to stay on top of all the litigation that goes on for what goes on with school buildings and lawsuits. But again, this is a tough one because it was a scenario where it was an accident. Like a lot of these are accidents that kind of get thrown at the school as it's their fault. So that's just the world that we live in, and there's really probably no changing it. So as educators and as a principal, I just have to adapt. The next court case would be a court case against the Anchorage School District. I couldn't find the name of the court case because they were trying to protect the identity of the student. So I did a little Google search, and I couldn't find the actual name of what was going on. But if you have any questions about it, it's in my sources page, the article that I got this information from. As far as the background, there is a young student. The student had a gift for their mother on Mother's Day, and they were running. When school got out, they were running to meet their mother to give the gift, and the student tripped and fell into a pile of sticks, and the student's eye was impaled, and in fact, the stick went all the way into his brain, and there were severe cognitive injuries to the student's brain. The student went from being in a gifted kindergarten class to having major cognitive issues. The school was sued for being negligent for having the pile of sticks there, and the school lost the court case. Some reactive steps that our school would take, obviously custodians would have to get rid of the stick pile, and then our school would talk to the custodians about other potential issues. So probably a walk around the school grounds to make sure the school grounds were safe. Some proactive steps that I would take, I would meet monthly with the custodial staff to make sure that the student safety is being met. So I think that's important, to have that line of communication open. And then if any concerns do arise, I would need to quickly address that. So I would want to, within a week of having a concern, I would want to have that fixed. I think that would be a way to maybe proactively stop something like this from happening. But again, this is kind of one of those freak accidents, and it's very unfortunate and sad. But again, it's just an accident. It's one of those things that happens. But schools are being held accountable for these accidents, so we need to make sure that we don't open ourselves up to any possible lawsuit. As far as how professional ethics could help with tort cases, I think that if you have a strict set of professional ethics, I think this would make sure that any type of intentional torts would not occur ever. Because if your professional ethics are strong and rooted in the correct way, you're not going to ever want to intentionally harm a student, and so that would be a non-issue. I also think it would limit unintentional torts. I'm not sure how many of these cases that I brought up that it would limit, because again, I mean, it's so easy to be sued for negligence now, but I do think it would limit it by some of the unintentional torts. It would limit because teachers would kind of be on the same page and know what is expected of them, and have kind of that high, kind of a high standard for themselves. So if that's the case, if it's going to limit unintentional torts and not allow for intentional torts, then I think that's going to limit the school's risk of any costly litigation, because professional ethics, like if you're operating ethically, these torts aren't going to be as big of an issue, so the school is going to have less risk. And then also, if you're operating ethically, it's going to keep students safe. And that's the big key, is everyone wants the students to be safe. Teachers want them to be safe. Parents want them to be safe. Administrators want them to be safe. And so that's a big key. And I think professional ethics does help with that. All right. With that being said, that is my Module 12. I appreciate you watching. If you have any questions, please comment below. And I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks.